reset the clock as Games Workshop has disrespected the lore one more time, not caring about fans, not caring about anything. This time it looks like incompetence rather than a political agenda in this instance, but we will get into the bottom of this and just head desk over how crazy these people act and how little they seem to care about their own properties. Very, very sad to see once again. Please hit the like and subscribe button as we talk about all things science fiction and fantasy here, my friends. Really appreciate you being here. And if you like stories about purging heretics and the like, you should check out my Justified Saga of the Nano Templar. This is a space crusading sci-fi series, which is awesome. You're going to love it. And it is in the description below. It's a 3-book trilogy right now. I'm going to probably do a follow-up trilogy very, very soon because you guys have been so all in on this lately. And this is a really, really fun alternative to all the woke crap that the Black Library has become lately. You're going to enjoy this. Thank you guys so much. It's available on ebook, print, and audio for your convenience. Grab it in the description below, and thank you for supporting our channel. All right, so fans are decrying Games Workshop changing Warhammer 40K lore again, with the Eldar Wraithbone now being manufactured instead of sung. This seems like a small difference, but it really just guts the Eldar, and it changes them in a way where it's like, okay, well, they had this beautiful sort of magical culture that was going on with the way that they sang this Wraithbone. Now it's just a generic sci-fi schlop, which doesn't mean anything. And that's kind of the direction Warhammer 40K is going on everything these days. They are just gutting their own stuff. Now, if you don't remember the controversy last year, they actually changed the Adeptus Custodes in their 10th edition Adeptus Custodes Codex. And an excerpt of it reads, Custodian Calidus Teorvalia Kesh stood on the bridge of the Cobra-class destroyer named Vigilant Flame. The warship belonged to the mighty Battlefleet Solar. She lingered in the shadows in the back of the bridge, positioned at a spot where she could observe the actions of every crew member, and be they the instrumentation pits, the armament shrines, or in the case of Shipmaster Lethwick, stood ramrod straight before his command throne. So a woman who's a custody isn't a thing. And of course, Warhammer gaslit everybody, saying since the first 10,000 were created, there have always been female custodians. Now, this got a lot of people upset because there have not always been female custodians. They completely lied. They changed the lore. And a lot of people just went down into the comments and said, you lied. And Warhammer started blocking their own fans. This was so crazy to watch this, just how they did not listen to fan reactions. They didn't care about the fans. They didn't care about the customer base. They just said, you know what, we're out, and they kept doubling down on this over and over and over again. Now, there was a stink made about this, saying that they're getting rid of this at the earlier this year. Somebody kind of made things up and was not correct in that. Very weird situation on that. And, of course, that got corrected, and they doubled down again on the female custodies. Very, very sad. But, again, that's Warhammer 40K. So now we have the Eldar Codex is out, and there's the 10th edition once again. And they're making changes once again. Now, this one is a little smaller, just in terms of a political context, but it does just have a negative impact on the Eldar, just like anything else they've done. And it says in there, the Wraithbone substance from which the crafts world is wrought is a composite material formed from various compounds, ores, and minerals. It is as much grown as it is forged. Now, they changed this. The entire material before talks about how this was sung. And so if you get back into this second edition codex back in the day, Eldar technology is based upon psychotechnic engineering, the manipulation of matter using mental energy. So the materials they use are a mutile psychoplastics, which can be readily formed into solid shapes under psychometric pressure. Such materials have many unusual qualities. In some respects, they are more like living tissue than inert substances, growing and reacting with the environment to similar ways to plants. Now, this is how they got the grown as much as and forged in it. But again, there's not really forging here. This is the singing and psychometric sort of situation that was talked about in this original version versus the now dumbed down version of this. I guess this was too intelligent, too interesting for Warhammer 40K to want to have going forward. Now, they're saying that there's a new book coming out very, very soon that they're trying to twist the lore a little bit for in order to make the plot line make sense or whatnot. That seems to be the reasoning behind this. We'll see what happens when this all comes out. Simple devices, including weapons like shuriken catapults, which are to the Eldar are especially well known, function in the same way as equivalent human items. Although formed in complex psychoplastics, the completed device is a machine or a component that works in a conventional manner. Of course, Eldar weapons usually store energy and use it far more efficiency than the human equivalent. This makes the difference for their effectiveness. The most unusual of these psychoplastics is called Wraithbone. All of the crafts worlds are built upon a skeleton of Wraithbone whose structure extends throughout the gigantic craft like a set of ribs. Wraithbone is an immensely resilient substance, far stronger than the strongest plasteel, and more difficult to damage than adamantium. If it is damaged, it will gradually repair itself, though the process can be accelerated under psychometric pressure. And this is what Gav Thorpe said about this. The manipulation of matter using mental energy is key, making it a distinct substance with unique qualities. Changing it to grown and forged takes away the uniqueness of Wraithbone and turns it into something generic. Now, the Gav Thorpe element of this is a spirit stone is a tool which allows bone singers, these are the people who create the Wraithbone, and draw raw energies from warp and shape it into matter. So this is a warp magic situation. It's created via warp magic, not forging, like they said. The matter created in this way is called Wraithbone, and it can be physically teased and manipulated by the bone singer in almost any form he wishes. Now, this is the magical singing, and this is what makes it kind of cool. And this actually goes back to Tolkien, because the elves in Tolkien, which of course the Eldar are based upon, are, of course, sing life, right? And this is a big Tolkien theme that it was happening on that level. And so that's where this was, of course, co-opted by Warhammer 40K, which co-ops a lot of Tolkien-esque stuff. And so it makes it into a setting that's very different than a generic sci-fi setting. This is why Wraithbone's interesting. It's tough and resilient. It forms the backbone of spacecraft, large structures as well as smaller items. Nor is Wraithbone only used for utilitarian artifacts like spacecraft, also used to create sculptural works of art. Because its solidified form of warp energy has very special properties. It never loses its physical connection to the warp, so that in a sense it remains part of the warp at all times. As a result, Wraithbone can channel psychic energy as much as an electric cable carries current. At the same time, it contains psychic forces that can shield the forces contains other psychic energy. So fans are decrying this, of course, this change and this dumbing down of the new edition of Warhammer 40K. Wokehammer Elves posted, Eldar Wraithbone got retconned in a codex, apparently. Went from something sung into existence to something manufactured. 10th edition has done and will continue to do untold damage to the hobby. As a minor change as it seems on the surface, it's an erosion of 40K's mystic elements. That's right. Reject 10th and stop buying the slop, is what he said. Gorgon Slayer made a very hilarious meme. The lore doesn't matter, Chud. And he changed the Custodes tweet. In regards to Wraithbone, it has always been a composite material formed of various compounds, ores, and minerals since the first Wraithbone was created. Very, very funny on this level. So as you can see, they're just changing the lore. And this isn't like a identity politics situation. It just seems to be taking away, like they say, mystic elements, the spiritual elements out of the game, the spiritual elements out of the Eldar, which is what makes the Eldar cool to begin with. That's the whole purpose of the faction on that level. And it's just turning them into more of a just generic dark sci-fi that doesn't really have much to it and doesn't have much sort of background to it that makes it distinct from anything else. So this is where we're at these days. Another change to the lore that they disrespected fans on. Sad to watch as Warhammer 40K circles the drain once again. What do you guys think about this? Is this a destruction of the Eldar in your opinion? Leave a comment down below. Please grab my Space Crusading series. You're going to absolutely love this if you love the old Black Library stuff. It's a 3-book trilogy. It's on ebook, print, and audio for your convenience in the description below. Hit the like and subscribe button. We'll be back soon.